Well, anyways, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the T.O.A podcast. This is going to be a little bit weird because it's one of the few times that I'm recording a podcast bef- very bit early before it goes out. I usually basically record and then they go out. This one's just the one exception. But either way, today is a special day because there's all four of us here. I got X, zack-ta, and How One with me. Everyone, boys, how you doing?
Oh, doing pretty good.
Little full, so I guess I'm good.
How about you, How One?
I am doing very well. I am putting together a Starhawk 2.
Very good days. Very good
joining
days.
the club, are we?
Good times, good times.
I am not putting together anything. However, because this might be a longer one, I'm just going to cut right to the chase. Today, we're going to be talking about the group effort comic of Crossover Championship. So, in theory, when this one's going live, should be the last comic we're talking about. Sorry, I had a few hiccups there. Should be the last one we're talking about, in theory. I need to get back on track. But, yes, what is Crossover Championship, people? That is a real question.
I think X
would you like
should handle this
to
one.
would you like to explain to the dear peoples?
Well, I guess since I was the one who first put forth the idea, sure, why not?
Yeah, I could do it.
Crossover Championship is basically taking our childhood advents, that time before lead up before Christmas, and putting it into comic form.
Well, what is this lead up to Christmas?
Well,
Please
I think
elaborate.
That's the answer
There's this
for,
thing called
how
the
one.
tournament. The tournament is where you grab minifigs from various themes and throw them into this tournament where they compete in tasks and they get scored on points, and in the end there's a winner.
Yes, the great Lego Olympics almost, but not quite.
In a way.
Essentially.
And I do believe that was very much a How One and a Lost T.O.A origins.
Yes, the original live Lego Christmas tournaments were a Christmas variation on other Olympic type events that we had done over the various years before that.
Yes, and those do go quite a far back. So, I guess at least it's very specific. The very first year of comics was very much a tournament where we had instead of having characters from each theme was more so there was teams from each universe of ours. So you had four teams: Alpha Knight verse, Purple Wolf verse, zack-ta verse, and Fermentikill verse.
Though obviously we dropped the Christmas theme since we wanted this to run all year.
Did we want it to, or did we just have no choice?
Well, in fairness, the Christmas tournament only had the Christmas theme for the last Christmas task, in all honesty.
Well, we could have tried to cram it all into a month, but
It would have given us a year to work on it.
Nah, that's too much cramming, too much in one go. A whole year gave us enough time to actually have teams
instead of
compete.
doing a task a day during Advent, that would mean 24 tasks. That's a lot. We decided to just sort of have the amount of tasks, but spread it through the year because there's 12 months. So we'll just do a task a month, one theme per task, basically. Like there's a castle task, a pirate task,
Yeah,
a rock raider task.
and pretty much I think we each pretty much upload one comic a week.
On average, 1 to 2 a week per person. We sort of had a day slotted for each other.
Yeah, I think it was just one unless someone wanted to add more. If you wanted to add more, it was basically minimum of 4. If you want to add more, you can good, but I don't know if anyone was really
Really,
did
you'll
that.
need a minimum of 1.
I mean, let's be honest. Occasionally there was a minimum of 0.
You're speaking from yourself, I think. There,
I think you did manage to do 0.
No, I never missed one. I just was late. I think the lowest least I did was 2. I think I had a few months I had 2 of them. Because I think the third task was 2. The Alpha Team task was 1. No, the Alpha Team task was only 1 comic. But I didn't actually miss any. I was just really late to some of them.
Yeah, the only real consistent contributor here was zack-ta.
Yeah, and not just as consistent.
Did you miss any?
I think it's safe to say
I didn't miss any, but I was often late.
Were you? I don't remember that.
You were the
That's
next.
too
Sometimes
long
I
ago.
wouldn't
You at
get them
least
out to the end
got
of, but
full
yes,
tasks.
I did get all 12 tasks in by the end of the month. But yeah, zack-ta was the only one who consistently got his.
Not
stuff
only
all
did I
done.
have all of mine on time, I've also been the one to keep the whole webcomic afloat for a few years now.
This will in fact be a theme. When in doubt, zack-ta it out.
We just outsourced the zack-ta for this,
So
don't you
that
know?
was just the first year. The first year.
Also, with the first year, just I'll say like how the judging worked. Basically, we had to take turns judging each other's team's
That was
performances.
probably the most confusing part. Was
there was
constant
definitely a
rotation.
few goof ups where I accidentally judged the wrong team and had to delete it and do a new comment.
I think you're the only one who really goofed up on that one. I think.
I would always double check with how one here beforehand because he was the only one who really knew what was going on as far as that went.
Pretty sure Echoes was going. Well, okay, I should say he really just outed himself, but
It was
I
good.
mean, it was my convoluted scheme.
I mean, your judges were convoluted a little bit on their own, right?
This year has been
In
fortunate-
theory, it's a good way to make it so that we're not trying to make my own team win because my team always gives my.
Yeah, there's the
team
thing is
good
with the
points.
original tournaments back when we were kids. Yeah, because we definitely only did those as kids.
Which-
Basically, we just had our own judges. Like we judged and did everything. It wasn't like we were judging it. So the concept of basically having a tournament, having another sibling judge your contestants was a little bit foreign, but it was fun. Definitely the team. One thing I will say this: because the first year my team was sponsored by the Rock Raider theme, and one of the team members, the host, and the first coach were all Power things. It's basically the only way that my Rockmire comic has lived on, essentially. And can I just say, Dex Rogers, the host, became more interesting than any of the contestants, I think.
You could say that.
I did say that.
I can't disagree that.
I would definitely have to say that given that this year is only our second year of the actual full-on each with the verse competing, having a sixth sibling do the judging completely separate from the rest of us has made it a lot easier and more entertaining.
Indeed.
I kind of like having my judges be stingy assholes, though.
Yeah, and that's how your
No,
team
like-
ended up winning.
I
Yes,
don't-
You had stingy judges.
Hey,
This
don't worry,
guy
I always
sucks.
gave an extra point to Michael's team because of good sponsors.
It's not the actual judging someone else's. It's that constant rotation of who we judging. It was so much easier just having a sixth brother.
It's not
Do
my
the
fault
judging.
that
I
whenever.
believe you mean fifth,
Fifth
brother.
brother.
It's not my fault that everyone else's judges weren't that generous either.
I tried to be in character with my judges.
That's our character. Lance Vancouver is a stingy person.
Yes,
He
when
didn't like
making your character stingy, the ones who grab you coincidentally, unintentionally made your team the
The winning.
recipient of all the high-scoring judges.
Yeah, yours never got suffered because you never judged yourself.
I had some lower scores.
Some,
Yeah,
but
because-
the one where we had to fill in the
your
blanks.
judges were always stingy.
No,
whereas
there was
mine
one
and
time I think they
zack-ta's
were. I
and
think there was one time they were
Megan's-
like half stingy.
It's still stingy. But the rest of our judges were,
I
very.
mean, look at this. I got nothing on what the last T.O.A is doing with his judging this year. I don't know what's going on with that.
Well, that was just pure comedy gold
This has
and
been fun.
confusion. Your team is still probably going to win because they have 90 points, while everyone else got 20.
I'm assuming they will retcon that at some point. But yeah, so the first year, was very interesting. And unfortunately, though, we didn't know how to end it. If you guys read the comics, the link in the description, you'll see how the first year ends. And
But we knew how to end it. We were going to build it up and not follow through.
That's just because we couldn't figure out what to do for the space task.
Yes, that was unfortunate.
but
Yeah, and I mean, I think what it really came down to is we were all kind of comic novices at the time. We'd never done anything in space or really had a lot of experience
also
with
when it comes
special
down to
effects.
picture taking, it's hard to do anything epic in space because that takes a lot of space.
A
We
lot
already
more
knew-
photo editing.
We already knew action was not good, so we eliminated the traditional car race right off the bat.
Needless to
for the
say,
sake
we
of
would be bad at
entertainment.
writing Star Trek episodes, is what we're saying.
Or we would do really well because we'd be very cost effective by not showing any exterior shots.
True.
We got low
But yeah,
budget,
so pretty much after that first year, well, it was like pretty much up until, as zack-ta was saying, up to this year, we pretty much didn't have a fully 100% group effort.
it was designed to do what it did the first year. Each of us has a team that competes. We get judged once a month by some other member.
Except
and in
this
the
time
end,
it's just
one
a person
verse.
judging.
Though
is a winner.
I did try to float it for a while. I did a full zack-ta tournament once with.
Technically twice if you include the Bionicle.
I
one.
was going twice with those, but I did 2 tournaments where I basically took a fig that would represent each other's verses to make it look like we were all in cohorts, but it's really just me and one person judging.
Yeah, because zack-ta is our main comic guru. He does the most comics. He's good at it. He's consistent. So he did the main legwork of these years.
Good at it. I think
I'm
that's
number
the
2.
nicest
Yeah, you actually did a
So that's
second
why
year.
I was roped into judging. Whereas
you also were just the most.
how one year,
Is not reliable at all, and was the first one to flake out in that first year.
which is why he got stuck with
no,
doing.
No, I think I was the first
Random
one to flake
commentary.
out.
I didn't
I was
ask.
flaking out already by the third task. I started cheaping just using plain black screens in the third
You know,
task.
cheaping out and flaking out are two different things, though.
No, we're talking about who would judge the tournaments
True.
I ran by myself.
You took
I mean,
shortcuts. I just stopped running.
I do think you could manage judging there,
I think
how
anyone
one,
can manage
simply
judging.
because I think you can put dialogue into pre-established pictures once a month.
I think anyone
It's
could
just
do
trying
that.
to basically keep on top of posting and
I
like,
could do
oh,
that.
it's the end of the
The
month.
judging was the one thing in the original crossover I had no problem doing. Would it be last minute actually making it? Well, yeah, because I didn't see the comics, but
All right,
That's
now that
one
we
thing I
got some
can do.
volunteers, I have hopes to do another tournament. So
oh,
maybe I'll
if you
change
want
it up.
stingy judges, no, the Lays World would have come back. They pretty much quit that.
Onvermel, you're forgetting one thing.
Yes.
If you're the only judges, I don't care if they're stingy or not. It's when
No,
your judges.
I'm just thinking
stingy,
like I was just
everyone
thinking
else is-
character like they wouldn't come back. They pretty much quit it 100%.
There was also, after we did the first year, I did my own solo year, which really didn't involve the other siblings, any of you at all.
Was
I
that-
just did a soccer tournament.
which feels crossover-y because it was
it's a
crossover
crossover
themes.
of themes, not of sibling universe.
And it doesn't specify that in the title of crossover championship, so
No, it
you know
doesn't.
you don't feel like you're cheating anyone.
Needless to say, it wrote the Mandalorian hype before it was popular. Let's just say that. Without
Yep,
without
yep.
going into detail.
The
I really
Mandalorian
should
hype?
have, tried to script it a little more comical like. Like, I should have had, like, the Bull Knights go all the way to the end or something. 'cause
Didn't they?
weren't- No, they only got, like, 2 rounds in. Or 3
But they should have
rounds,
played it
I
like
thought they got to the
football, not
semifinals.
football.
They got basically 3 rounds in, because the second round I basically copped out and cheated and didn't actually show much footage.
Sounds
I
about
regret
right.
that, but it was a lot of
Yeah, you
work
should have gone with
doing
the
that.
comical route, finding the
It
most.
was also like the one of the few times you had
Bad
like a
boys
whole
that
fake
make-
minifig collection all in one place too at the
Yeah,
time.
I
That was
built a
your
whole
full
soccer
collection?
field, and at the time, that was all my minifigs, except for the ones who are playing in the teams.
Gosh, that makes
So
your
it doesn't
collection
actually
seem
look
small.
Well, you gotta think, like, there was like,
30 teams.
No, but when you have them
32
all gathered in one
teams,
spot, it
yeah.
doesn't seem nearly as big when it's scattered.
That's the way the minifigs go.
I know.
But and then pretty much after that, zack-ta pretty much took the reins from any year after
This
that.
is the first year where it's actually been a full.
where all of us were
Where basically
probably
I
involved.
haven't been carrying the weight since the soccer tournament. Yeah, so
Yeah.
like 5 years now. So I did
Well, this
2 full.
soccer.
Yeah, I've done 4
2016.
years worth, unless Chris, you were between one of those.
Soccer's 2016, so
Yeah, it's been me this whole time.
Well, there was one year where we didn't really
Right,
have
there was
anything.
1 year where we didn't do anything except was it
How one
how
did
one
something
for Chris
in Advent.
for December.
Yeah, that was 2018, I think, and there'd been nothing all year long, and we were talking about forcing zack-ta to do something in 2019, but I had sort of a random comic desire that needed somewhere to go, and since it involved crossovering stuff, that's where it went.
yeah. And then of course, this year, we're back into a group one, which is the first time that we've had
The intended purpose.
the lost T.O.A join into this. So officially, all 5 boys are now officially part
Yes,
of it.
it was quite exciting to get him into the fold.
I'll take credit for putting that forth. Just putting it out there. I'm pretty sure I was the
I'm
one who
actually quite-
officially asked.
I think it also helped that he was feeling just a little bit left out, maybe
He was
from the
also
Lego
just
fun.
he's also just been rediscovering his love of Lego, like actually like opening the boxes and tinkering.
Yeah, first it came with him just joining our, chat online, Facebook or whatever.
We have a group chat for Lego.
The stuff.
And, just all of us talking about comics definitely may have
He
hinted.
certainly was confused a lot.
I mean, don't worry, he's a lot busier than the rest of us, but that's why he's got judging. Which,
That's all a matter of
other
perspective.
friend,
We
he's
don't
like
actually
judging
know
the
what he
easiest thing
does.
to do, but he's making his judging like probably the most elaborate judging that he could.
It's certainly a
It's
different
not an
take
it's
on
not an
judging
it's
what
not
we've
an
done.
it's not an X judging. We'll say that.
It's a grand.
No
judging.
offense to your judging, but it's not different than
My
yours.
judging was cheap and easy.
That's my web comic. Cheap and easy.
Yeah, we the rest of us have all learned the shortcuts and to make the comics as simply and effectively as possible, whereas
I've really
we're still in the
learned that.
beginner
I mean,
stage
I
of
was-
lavishing attention upon it.
I mean, I was going to say that we've just learned over the years, me more than others, the kind of ins and outs of how to make it easier and more manageable. For instance, 12 contestants is too many to manage. 6 is a much more reasonable number, but even if you can bring it down to 4,
See, that's why I already knew that 12 was going to be too many managed. That way, I chop them off one after each month, which I have a half-finished tournament.
Eventually,
Wait, that
Purple
far in?
Wolf here or Onvermel will have
Honestly,
his
it was
own
probably
year.
a bad idea joining this one. What I should have done, in hindsight, was been like, you guys all do this, and if I feel enough FOMO, I'll be working on mine, in theory. Now I have to, like, divvy up my energy between the channel, and leftover that goes to the comic, and then if I'm lucky, I might get to the Power Mario one, which,
That's never gonna happen.
I don't know.
Which is unfortunate because some of
It's-
us have been waiting for that to finish so we can
it
move on
still
to the
hasn't
next
half
year
done.
so we can work on plot points.
I do work on like a couple ones now and then. I just
It'd be
isn't-
really nice if you could do that, just so we could move on.
I was gonna say, isn't like your pirates like waiting for this specific tournament to get done?
No, it's more like I had a team that I wanted to use for crossover.
Yes, but we aren't using that because we're
but his team also
Purple Wolf
affected
here
my
is-
team.
yeah, but isn't Purple Wolf waiting for this tournament done so he can do something for his own
Exactly.
purpose?
Yes.
So exactly, we can't do that tournament until he gets on with
That's
this.
why I pitched this tournament as a he's like, all right, you guys, we can do another tournament. I pitched this one as kind of a
push it down the line,
giving yourself more time to put it off.
extend the deadline for his own.
I'm
tournament.
dangling the carrot, okay?
It's more time, but he won't actually use any of it.
It'll eventually get done.
I'm hoping it'll eventually get done. It's
Maybe when you're married and have 12 kids.
I'm not having 12 kids.
Not before the comic is done.
Sure. But like I said, so we've had pretty much a soccer tournament. We've had a special Advent one from How One, but there was also the one tournament that zack-ta did, I believe, where Ek was judging, and then you were also doing side stuff on the what's it called? Like How One, you were also doing like a little like side something on the side for one of these ones, weren't you?
I was supposed to be. To say that I was is to ignore the fact that, like many things, I ended up losing track of it.
Okay, so I couldn't remember how one actually ended up doing anything, or if it was just
he
me.
got a couple in the first half of the year, but by the end he ran out
Of the
steam.
second time zack-ta did this style, we got in one commentary.
Did we even get that far?
I think we got
I
one.
thought we got one, but I don't really remember if we
I don't
got
remember.
any more than
The
that.
second one was the one I did with 6 contestants, correct? I don't think there was a single commentary. It was just
No,
me and
I'm
you
pretty sure
judging.
there was one commentary. I'm pretty sure he got one.
Well, I know the
We
original
have to go
point.
back and check.
I know
but
the original point was that was going to basically be zack-ta heavy. Ek was going to do judging, and then How One and I were going to do kind of bonus stuff. And my
Yeah.
whole idea was basically going to be doing like commercials or TV spots and such.
there was lots of ideas.
I gave myself
I
a
know,
big
that's
out.
what
I gave
disappointed-
myself a big out.
That's why we arranged it the way it was. We went for the one person we would rely on to be judging. The
I
other two,
arranged it for that one. I basically say like, oh, I can do this if I have the energy. In fairness, though, that year I do believe I did work a little bit on my comic. It's just really hurt.
which we do hope to see someday.
Yes. Someday. It's just an extension of Rock Miners. Really
How
what
far
it is.
into it are you? I know you're past at least the first half.
I'm halfway through.
Oh, it's actually
That's
further than I
not
thought.
bad.
Like I said, I'm halfway through, and I know how the rest are going to play out. I just need
Well,
to.
that's
what I
half
need
the
to
problem
do,
you had is you
Which
had
the
to go
problem with I'm having
scripted.
with this comic is I just need to find an open space that I can actually set up this, because unfortunately, the set pieces to Rock Miners is also for the this tournament just take up a lot more room that I don't have.
Randomly assembled has really taught me to make very small and minimal backdrops.
Fortunately, like I said, I'm halfway in already, so I can't really.
Oh yeah, you can cut the
jump
budget.
out.
You can cut the budget.
I won't let myself cut the budget. It really depends on the task. Like I think there's one major task that is going to be taking much room, and then anything else after that shouldn't take too much. But it's just
All you need to do is throw zack-ta off the
My biggest
balcony.
problem is
Call
I
it an
can't-
accident.
I just don't have enough focus on a turn for longer than
if
like.
he throws me off the balcony,
month.
I'm going to be throwing him under the bus more and more.
Wow.
'Cause I know why
you'd
he
probably
did it.
survive. You'd probably survive that fall. The balcony's not that
Not if you
high.
go head first. I think you could die.
Especially if you tried a game to go under and hit the other balcony's railing.
This is very violent. Very
I
violent.
don't know where
people.
this even came from.
But
I just
one
know where-
thing-
This is how
one thing
he's
about-
going to get more
I
space.
would say that the
Oh,
crossover
space. I
championship
thought this could be
overall,
his delay
though,
method.
the crossover championship in the end, like at the end of all things, basically, I would say, it very much gave birth to this group of Lego chatters to an extent. Like, sure, we all like Lego, but I would say the crossover championship gave us more of an opening to just like
Well, it
We
was
needed a
basically the
platform-
invention of Crossover Champion that we created our little chat
That's
group on
why we
Facebook,
created the-
because it was originally called like Crossover Championship
Yes, then
Talk or
we
something.
renamed it because we needed a way to communicate ideas between the four of us without having to get others bothered by it.
Well, I would
so-
say it's very much
yeah.
specifically gone us to communicate about our Lego stuff more so than before. Because before it was very much like, yeah, us three who are sitting on the couch right now, we always lived close enough and would, but like how one often would be either busy or we wouldn't Skype that often. So you would get trickles of information. But since the, I can hear Lego
Yeah, I was
rumbling
going to say,
in
do you
the
hear that? He must be
background.
working on his next task already.
Sure, my Starhawk 2 task.
Like I said, there's also, I like to think that the Crossover Championship which led to this production, has brought the Lost T.O.A kind of into the fold a little bit. I can't guarantee that without him being around here, but I like to think that it
Well, the
it
fact that
affected.
we were able just to bring him on to the comic.
I'm honestly surprised about
I
that.
look forward to asking for his actual opinion on what contestant he wants in the tournament next year.
You might still not get an answer. Trying to ask how one for his direct answer is almost impossible. Just it could be difficult.
He might at least give me a name of a Unitron to use.
I mean, more than Captain Unitron.
Well, I don't think I'd make him a contestant. That's too. He's like a judge.
Oh yeah, he's Admiral Unitron now, I believe. But
Isn't he Unidor, or is that Mike? Is that
I don't
Kyle
know.
Watkins?
I don't know.
Captain Unitron and Admiral Unitron were characters of the Lost T.O.As growing up. Admiral Unidor and Captain Unidor are my totally not rip-off characters in my adult.
Totally not.
Totally. I said it was totally not, therefore it's totally not.
Yeah, but
So I'm going to pose this question, y'all. What has been your favorite task that you did the first year, we'll say?
The first year.
Okay, see that's a difficult question.
I want to say Hunt for the Mask, but that was just because I enjoyed having them carry around their masks and make it look like they were talking.
That was also the month I gypped out on them, and it led to a whole shenanigans shebang. That wasn't a very fun one because mine was. I think I had like 1 or 2 comics for that one, but I think the one maybe I liked was. I think the choose your own task, because I had mine where basically they were hunting raptors, but this is after they had actually no, my favorite task was the poetry task. Definitely, that was fun. Eruptor made it really fun. I liked the poetry task. The basement with concrete floor worked really good for a cave.
Every tournament you look on, there are moments you look back and those are nice, but there are definitely ones you're like, we should have done that differently or not at all.
That's basically with the pizza task and the joust.
That was me with like the last.
There's a
few
reason
tasks.
why, at least I really wanted us to redo the joust again, because I wanted to do it better than last time. I believe it was a 50-50 split with us for whether or not we were really going to do the joust.
To be fair,
I was in favor of it.
To be fair, the reason the joust didn't come out so great was because it was literally the first task we ever did together.
Well,
So
obviously.
it was that task where we figured, okay, we don't have to dedicate so much time to this aspect. We could just.
Also, I think I wasn't 100% sure how much I can go against the set rules that we had or such, and that the backdrop wasn't good, the pictures weren't great.
Well, it might affect judging, but at this point,
because originally my plan was Chuck was going to ride a warg, and then for some reason I decided not to ride a warg. I don't know why.
So what about you, How-One? What was your favorite task that you did?
I would say, in looking back on them, I am particularly fond of the choose your own theme, where obviously I chose the Lord of the Rings. Although, in hindsight, that is sort of where the rails started going off, because I sort of wrote myself into a corner by now having to deal with continuity.
Oh dear.
Continuity, what's that?
A problem, let me tell you.
Ooh, if I would have a second favorite one, I'm just going to say it's probably the meditation task at Garmadon as Garmadon.
I would say I have 2 favorites of my own. For just looks and the way it was set up, I really like my adventure task. The photography was good, and just being able to set it up to make it look like there was a giant chasm was very nice. And
that was really good.
But I also really like my Alpha Team task. It was only a 2-comic one, and it was quickly and thrown together. But in hindsight, it worked really well. The setup actually wasn't too bad. The entrance by Ogle was awesome.
Let's be honest. At that point, anyone reading
And that's where it really took off, going downhill in universe of my tournament.
That's where Dash showed up.
All of our
Dash
tournaments
showed up.
went downhill in universe. Yours, I just think, got bad luck. Purple Wolves just sort of
I had a
stopped
Canny Rob
appearing.
Bowl.
So yes, the Connie Rob Bowl. For Mendocils just went to, we don't know. They just disappeared. And then mine, I have 3 rounds of contestants for this because they lost them twice.
They got them to replace them.
We replaced the entire contestants twice, except maybe one character. I think Honest Dawn.
Yes, he did survive.
He made it through 2 groups.
But yeah, so for you Bongo fans out there, yes, the only joke I had going was the Candy Raw Bowl is lived on.
Which, ironically, I did a Bionicle tournament, and that was one of the years we never saw the Connie Raw Bowl.
It's very sad. Very sad.
To be
Bionicles are very happy about that.
To be fair, I did not own a Connie Raw Bowl, and I lived further away at the time.
So, but actually, no, I think with this Connie Raw Bowl is my favorite part from it, but definitely just Garmadon Danju with the meditation task definitely was my favorite.
I have to actually say, no, I think if I
quite like that one too of yours.
Invent your own task, and that was just Spanky swabbing his hats around to see which one had the ball under. Because
that was good.
I was really reflecting the fact that it's a cheap.
They ran out of ideas.
Spanky is the sponsor, despite the fact he might have money.
He didn't have an idea for it because, like, let's be honest, probably was like
he doesn't know how to spend.
Every universe basically got to probably choose what their task was. So, like, Spank, what do you make task? Wait, I have to make my own task. Yes. Oh.
Which has the ball under? Which of course leads up to getting sucked into his hat for like. Actually, they're still in there.
Any
to this day.
gag with Spanky's
they're
hat
still in there to this day.
Go over to randomly assembled, and you might notice a little.
So does that mean Dash in randomly assembled is a clone?
Or Dash in Crossover Championship is a clone.
Or they're on different timelines.
I don't know.
There's just 2 of them.
There's just 2 of them.
Sure, if you can have 3 Johnnies wandering around, why not 2 Dashes?
We've gone over, pretty much a lot of different things, characters, maybe not with characters, but a good sense of basically what Crossover Championship is. So of course, I like to employ anyone to go check them out. It is a lot, so you can just skip. Maybe check out one season here.
Almost daily updates for
check this current year and the first year if you really want to sense what Crossover Championship was meant to be, what it was designed for, and that. But I'll say this: do any of us have any for future plans? I know there's obviously mine, and we want to group. We've kind of already discussed what some future plans are. Like I know I'm still working mine. There's a future group one that we want to do,
but it relies on Purple Wolf here to finish this, just because. Team that
basically what it is, the team I decided on one team to use, which very much is influenced by what happens in mine that I'm doing, which this is the problem with my stuff. I make bigger plans than I need to, and even with this current tournament, I have bigger plans, so I can't jump out of it or cheap out of it because I wish I could just go back to
there are bigger plans, but we can't tell you what they are.
Yeah.
We want to keep you in suspense.
But, so like I said, we know, but zack-ta I'm sure has some planned ones.
I was somewhat on the fence of, after this, I was okay doing this year because I didn't have to fill up every day, and I was sort of burning myself out with the last year just because that randomly assembled by Uncle Tails. I have a lot of projects. But I do have enough inspiration for another year that I am somewhat inclined. I still have our sister's Lego in my collection, so I can literally take one of her figs, put it there. And I do want to have a Unitron representing the Lost T.O.A. And there's always more from your verses that I can put in there. So I have ideas for another tournament and some tasks we haven't seen before online that I want to try out. So I am inclined to do another one next year.
And as for me, someday I would like to do another soccer one, but this time it'd be hockey, because hockey is a sport I'm way more familiar with. Even if you read the soccer one, and if you're familiar with hockey,
joke. Basically, there's no soccer jokes.
Yeah, there's no soccer jokes.
The only let's be honest.
The only reason you do is
let's be honest. The only reason you had soccer as a sport because for Lego, soccer is the biggest sport team that there was.
It's also easy to build a soccer.
I have a ranking
very easily.
I probably would build my own rink because I did buy a bunch of those big printed tiles from the hockey stick.
Yes,
but
I remember that.
I will say this because normally this would be the point where I'd ask, is there an end in sight? But this is more of a question all this. And let's be honest, it'll be end when we just stop making them.
When we can't bring ourselves
more likely than not, after I do mine and then the other group one that we do, I'll probably call it there. More likely than not. just because I'm like, you know what?
As far as I'm concerned, as long as there's some of us willing to do
I will admit
this,
there is one
we
mini
will
tournament
do
I
it.
want to do. This is like a 1 month thing only.
It's about as in-jokey as it gets.
It's a very short little Advent thing with a bunch of geezers competing. Well, kind of. I haven't really done any work about it, but it's one of those things where it's like, if I ever get to the point,
And no one else is doing anything.
it's just something I'm like, even if it's just something I just show amongst you guys, like it's something I want to put on, but it's something I'm not like going like, no, this needs to be done. It's more something like someday. This sounds pleasant.
I do know next year.
What about you, How-One? Are there any...
My great goal is to put up comics for every task for an entire year.
And not miss out on any?
So far, you're doing good.
So far, I am achieving that for this year so far.
3 for 3.
Let's just,
I have-
when it comes like June, July, then we'll see.
I am
there.
nearly done.
I have
making
pictures
tasks
through
up.
November, but those space pictures. Ooh, those space pictures.
I have
pictures taken through November as well.
I have the first 3 months of pictures and comics done. That's it.
Space pictures?
Space.
Oh, space pictures.
I just realized I need to make a set for the next, build a quick little set for the next task. I lost my sheet of paper that has all the little inside jokes for each task, but I know what they are. But I'm like, I just remember what the task next month is. I'm like,
I want to have
Maybe
running gigs and
get some
inside
log
jokes, but I
bricks.
often forget about them in production, so they
It's
kind of
log
get
bricks,
lost.
I got some log bricks.
luckily enough for the next task, it's who the I'm going to say the guest star in that one. Essentially, the theme of the month character is going to be in there with the deputies. Going to make it a lot more. I don't care if this set's crap. I'm going to have fun with him. I don't know. Honestly,
Your set could be a piece of brown
my
paper
contestants
folded over
aren't
all.
that interesting.
It's not about the set.
Honestly, I think the easiest way for me to do comics is if I have one large actual set, like a Lego set, that I can take all the pictures around. That's the easiest way. That's where the first 2 tasks were easier. I just had a castle and a castle. This third task,
It's the only reason I had motivation to do the third task was simply because I recently acquired the Enchanted Island set. I was like, well, this is where my pirate task is happening.
I
mean, that's kind of half for my part.
I
Because,
cheaped
I happen
out.
to have this set here. You know what? It works great.
However, I would say I cheaped out for
I'm
the last.
also using this set for Pirate's Life for like the kind of exact same location that it is, so it worked too.
Wait, didn't I last time?
So we'll see your contestants breaking out during a pirate's life.
No.
Isn't next week where the next task starts?
Yes, this weekend or some point.
Yeah,
we
March
should
is almost over.
We'll
so...
be getting judging any day now.
That went by way too quickly. I need to start working on comics before next
You have
Friday.
nope.
Right, there's a dead week, I
Thursday is
think.
it's the
Next
Thursday.
week is still mostly March.
Yeah, so you have about a week and a half.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was a little thrown off. Like, why do I have to wait so long to put my comic up? But that's because that's the intro day. Thursday is the first day of the month. Actually, no, you might have to put your comic first day of the month
I
because
think
you
I
might be first.
You might be able to also just, slough it.
Well, we'll see.
Next week.
I have Monday off, so in theory I might do it. I would say I do it tomorrow, but no, I work tomorrow. Wow.
Womp, womp, womp.
Which means I have pretty much no free time tomorrow. Because I sleep in and go to church, have lunch, go to work.
Huh, you don't usually work Sundays.
I'm working once every 4 now. It sucks.
That sucks.
Womp, womp, womp.
But yeah, so yeah, crossover championship. It's a very it's a lot of stuff in there. It's a lot of different things. If you like Bionicle, there is a Bionicle gear in there.
There's always a Bionicle task.
No, not
I
always.
refuse to part with it.
I don't think we have a
There's
Bionicle
not
task
one
this year.
Bionicle task planned this year.
I don't think so.
Isn't there?
No,
No?
there isn't.
This was a matter of some debate, but I believe we all agreed against it.
Oh, right. We like the Bionicle task, but it's hard to make less grand and.
I don't
small.
like comic Bionicle tasks, honestly.
Well, that's fun. If you really try hard, you can get Bionicles into these tasks.
Yeah, I got system minifigs.
I'm just going to say that there's going to be Bionicles in one of my tasks this year.
Without
I won't
knowing
tell
all
you
the-
what.
Without knowing when all the tasks are coming up, I don't know, but I'm sure we're going to see a Connie Rob Bull at some point.
That would be
Either in
appropriate.
purple or in time. I recently acquired a Connie Rob Bull.
Oh no, things are getting out of hand.
Now there are 2 of them.
Maybe it's the same one, just transversing versus the readers won't know.
Does yours have Bakari Nuvas on it?
Does his?
My my Milwaukee does
Oh yeah, your Milwaukee
because the infected house were elsewhere, so I put the
Picari Nuvas.
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
Also, there was a brief time where we were spinning the idea of doing a group Bionicle one. I know there was an idea of that spinning around for a bit, but it never went anywhere.
Don't remember that one. I know I did a Bionicle one.
It
but I
was
don't remember
very
Speedball.
it was very much locker room talk when it came down to whether or not it was.
And
going
we're,
to be a
hey,
thing.
maybe we could do this.
We could all
And
have a
then it just
T.O.A,
never
a
went in.
Tauren, and
I just think we couldn't figure out a good set of numbers, or I'm just thinking Bonkles take up so much more room and then tasks for Bonkles to do.
Well, that's where you.
And it was just yeah.
No. This is where you take life access. All right, we have to get out of this sink.
I just remember the idea for judges basically being mine would
Well,
be
the Bronco just reaches over because he's taller than the thing. Gets out.
It was just one of those things where it's I
He
remember
does
that
not
idea
tilt the Tohunga
spinning.
out.
So, but yeah, I would say that's crossover people. It is what it is. It's just the first one's is still the favorite one I've seen done, mainly because it's the group one.
I feel insulted by that, but okay.
And I was getting chuckle in my own jokes. What can I
Hey,
say?
what about my soccer tournament? I feel like that was the pinnacle of crossover.
I was gonna say, I think I've done 70% here. I feel like I
crossover
have
with the finish line.
advantage of quad.
Crossover with the blue line. Hockey joke, not soccer reference.
I actually do fondly feel like last year's was probably the overall best, just for consistency wise.
Last year was really good.
It also when you're the first time you did it in that style, you improved on the task to choose for one.
Yes, the task we went with, how to portray the tasks,
running jokes, photography,
and
everything was pretty much on point.
I think this last year was the first time I didn't suffer that end of year burnout where you're just trying to get your last few tasks out.
That's me every month here. Time flies. But yeah.
Any final thoughts? Because I've got one.
All right.
You do?
Well, my final thought is Crossover Championship. One of the reasons why I really like it is it basically gives me the chance to play Lego with, specifically kind of my older brother, how one, but even with you guys to some extent.
Oh, that's the nicest thing you ever said.
I don't think I've ever looked at it that
extent.
way. Maybe I need to look at it that way. Maybe.
No, making
That's the whole
comics is
reason-
like playing Lego as an
This
adult.
is the
I don't
reason-
see making comics. I see making comics as a chore to an end result of a joke.
This
that's
is
meant
why
to
I
be
like
funny.
Crossover Championship. This is why I really hope either you or How One will do the judging next year, just so I can coordinate with someone else for a change. Even though I don't have to do anything other than post, and you do your own thing without any form of communication.
Also, just getting a different breath of fresh air for some different judging.
Yes, I do.
Mine got
believe
pretty stale.
I do believe How One can be pretty witty in the short term judging department.
I mean, we don't know. The only judges I've ever used have been Nazgul.
This is true.
They were a very interesting set of judges, to be sure.
Well, even if you could just rope Purple Wolf into doing just one task, can you just judge one task for me?
I was
If I had
judging,
12
I
siblings, I would
can
get a new one
easily
every
judge.
task.
Judge is something I can easily do. Especially because I live with him, so it'd be
Well, be
hard to
careful
avoid
what you
doing
say.
it.
It'd be
Yes, joke. Zack-ta here
Especially
just,
because it's
sticks his just pictures on the kitchen table. It's I need
Judge.
some judging.
So
Tonight,
I'm just picturing,
midnight
coming in Detective Files, just dropping a pile of photos.
you can even be lazy about it, not even read the comics, just come up with all your judging one day and just assume it works out.
just assume everything.
All right, he got
That would be challenging. Actually, trying to assume without
depending
making
on the
sound.
judge you go with, that could work out really well. We weren't actually paying attention the whole time.
Oh, that would actually be pretty funny.
Just avoid
That
the same
actually would be
points
clever,
every
too.
task.
Just get him on a good day. Just get him to give you a whole bunch of numbers from these characters.
Art Purple Wolf, give me 4 numbers.
2, 27, 5,000.
Between 1 and 2. Never mind. Just give me 4 numbers.
1, 2, 3, 4. There we go.
I'll just rearrange the 1, 2, 3, 4s every time.
But yeah, no. So yeah, Crossroad Championship. Check it out. You'll get a lot of different,
I
lot of
guess-
different characters.
I guess I should just quickly add that despite it looks like it, our sister has never actually been incorporated in this.
Yeah, we just kind of hijacked one of our minifigs for it. We have 2 sisters, but neither of them have been involved, and I don't think that they ever will. It's a boys' club in here.
We're pretty lucky to have all 5 of us boys too.
Yes, I
That's
feel quite
true.
blessed this year.
That's true. That's one reason why I feel like I can't just jump out to him dang it, I have
Daniel
to stay.
will be relying on you.
I feel like I could easily come with excuses. My problem is the final comic is what I want to get to, and I can't do that without doing the rest.
You need a build up to some games. You can't just jump in.
See, the first
Right,
Crossroad
right.
Championship, I didn't have an end result. That was half the problem. This one I do. So I was like, great. I had to go through this. Especially, plus this one was half my idea. It was like yours and mine, so.
Well, it was half your idea just so you could push your.
Yes,
other
yes.
Because
one.
I wasn't going to do one this year, so you're like, I need a filler without having nothing up.
To be honest, if I ended up doing this year, I probably would actually be working on my comic. Maybe I'll just say this. Because I have 6 months May, how about I just say I do next year?
I'm okay with
And
not
because
doing
and
next
if I
year.
start posting, I have more
All right, it is official.
You at least have a 6
Purple
year.
2023. Even if we only get 6 months out of it, it'll be better than
We'll
nothing.
just assume how the rest ends.
It gives him more of a deadline, more incentive.
Basically,
to
it's
finish
like once the thing is with this one, let's like March. I didn't have the comics ready, and then it was like 2 days before my first one had to go live. I quickly made the comics. I work on a deadline, okay?
To be fair, it doesn't actually take months to make a
No,
comic.
if
It's
you-
just finding
this
the
is- if
time.
you-
Sometimes it takes months
If
to get
you
an
don't,
idea.
I'm a natural
Yes.
procrastinator. If you don't give me a deadline, I will take that mile and I'll turn it into 10 years.
Well, now that we have it in, well, not exactly writing, but now we
But
have it
no,
on the internet.
We've had all
You
four of
can
us.
still delete
All
that.
4 of us are agreeing with this. All 4 of us agreeing with this. That okay, I'm going to start posting next year's.
That
will
means I have a
officially
whole
take care of
year
that.
to work on the one after that, or whatever
So-
happens.
Yes. Okay. So I can say, watch out for 2023. The Rock Miners will be hosting Crossroad Championship again. The return of Dex Rogers once again.
Until we see it, it'll be the best
the
tournament
return
ever.
of one of his favorite characters.
They're also some of my favorite comics I've ever made. The ones I've made for that so far.
Not a whole lot of competition.
It's because
though.
I haven't those ones I haven't been stressed to make. I basically just made them when I felt like it. So
So
I
we'll
like
see
them
a
more.
very distinct drop of quality halfway through where the stress kicks in.
very possible. I don't know. Well, the thing is, as the comics get later, they might get better. I don't know. But yes, I'll do it 2023. We have that in writing.
And if he succeeds in putting stuff up every month, he will bury Anua in the dirt.
No, I'll bury New and Dirt if I get to 100 subscribers. That's the
So
deal.
you get to 200 subscribers, you will finish this tournament.
I can
No.
get. That's possible. To 200 subscribers
There are that many subscribers on the YouTube?
on the YouTube. But yeah, no. I thank you everybody for listening to this T.O.A. podcast. It's been a bit of a different one. Like I said, at this point, all the other comics we've should have already listened. This should be the last of the comic discussions. So, I mean, if someone really wants to go more in depth about one, I don't think we really can. We kind of already have. Now let's talk about specific comics. So, thanks for listening in. And I've been your host, Onvermel. This has been the T.O.A. podcast, and we are retiring from the night.